to a month now.
Yeah.
But
Good.
there are definitely some things we want to correct.
What are you seeing out of him?
One is his off-leash behavior.
Over this way.
He doesn't really recall, and obviously even on leash.
Yeah. A little distractible.
People around, he's very easily distractible.
I see that. Okay.
And then at home, he is around food.
Yeah.
The worst beggar I've ever seen him.
Oh, okay.
Like, jump on you, jump on the table, do whatever he needs to do to get food.
Okay.
But everything else he's picked up really great. Like crate training. Yeah. He goes in there willingly now.
Great. That's good. How does he seem with like other dogs and stuff? Have you had him around very many?
A little bit. The first experience we had, he was like it was a female, and he was just trying to get it on the entire time and being really annoying. The second time, I kept him on leash. Yeah. And the other dog was actually really, it was not well behaved and was very excited and just like jumping on him, trying to mount him, and he was very receptive to my command and listened to me and did really well. So
all right, so no big issues there. Yeah. And with people, he seemed fine.
People, he's fine. When we picked him up at the rescue, he was marked no kids.
Really?
I think that's because he's very jumpy. Sure. He goes for the face. Yeah. And he's a play biter. He definitely nibbles when he plays, and so I think those are just behaviors that they saw. You know, no kids. Sure. I don't see anything from him as a dog
that's concerning.
Yeah, for him around kids. People wise, he's very friendly. Yeah. Trying to keep him from jumping on people.
Yeah. So you said he's pretty food motivated?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Did you bring any treats with you or anything?
I did. I brought treats and his kibble too. So.
Perfect. All right, you follow me this way. We're gonna go into our other space over here, and we'll get cruising on stuff. So today what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of get started on some like basic leash handling stuff with him. Just start getting him into the groove of things. So first session is kind of like an assessment / session. Good. Okay. Good. One more. Okay. Good work, buddy. Good work. Okay. Not too shabby. You want one of these? Heck yeah, you do. All right, we're gonna give him a quick break, let him hang out for a second, and then I'll have you start jumping into some of this. Any questions on that so far?
No, that was awesome. I guess the big thing is, outside. How do you add in
distractions?
To sniff around and eat,
Yeah, so we'll get into some walking stuff here in a little bit where I'll kind of show you how we kind of categorize the walk up to make it fair for him. But right now, keep in mind all this intro stuff we're doing, though there's some distractions, we got dogs, people, stuff like that, this is basically a box we're working in. So I'm not really expecting just yet much of this is going to apply out into the real world yet. We're kind of shaping and showing him the expectation of what we want him to do so that later we could proof that and then hold him to that standard around those distractions, right? So usually first 3 sessions or so is all just teaching. So it's not a ton of distractions, just again showing that expectation. That second 2/3 of the program is all about proofing it. Sure. So.
Yeah, that's just something I always wonder. Just because you always see the training videos. Just right up to it. I always wonder if they want to sniff around. They want to
The general rule of thumb is 2 different things. One, we have to either hold him to a standard of healing and strict, or he has to be totally free, right? So usually what I'll do is I'll structure my walk into 3 sections. The beginning, I do a little bit of healing, provide some mental stimulation, get him focused in on me, work around the distractions. Somewhere in the middle, I'll give him a break, let him sniff around, hang out, be a dog, do whatever. And that, if you look at it, is kind of like his reward for doing a good job with the healing. Then I end with the structure again to make sure I could reel him back in, get him to focus back in if I need to, The second side of it is if you look at the purpose of the walk at its core, it's typically to provide physical as well as mental stimulation, right? So by enforcing our healing, what we're doing is we're providing both physical and mental stimulation. So I err on the side of, at least initially, the majority of the time doing the healing and then less of the free time,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you'll find he's going to get more out of the walk doing it that way. I usually like, the way I structure mine out is there's like a park kind of near our house. We'll heel to the park, then I'll let my dogs off leash, let them run around, hang out, burn off some energy, then we heel back home. So mine is more of like a destination is the freedom than it is like we're walking and you're just off doing whatever, you know? Like I said, what you're doing is a good first step as far as it's showing him that that's what we don't want. But then from there, we need to actually punish for the behavior.
Yeah, we did. Right when we first got him, like I said, the jumping was really bad.
Oh, yeah.
We got a spray bottle.
Oh, there you go. How did that work?
It worked for a while.
Yeah.
He was terrified of it.
Sure.
Eventually, kind of just got over it. Like, I know what happens when you spray me. It's just water.
Yeah, you got to figure out what each individual tool is like, or what dog is motivated by what. Like with some dogs, that's very effective, you know? Yeah. In other cases, the problem with some of those tools that quote unquote like startle the dog, so the pet corrector, or the spray bottle, or whatever it may be, is if you overuse it, it dilutes its value very quickly, you know? So if you use it for too many, a lot of people will be like, oh, it's working for the jumping, so I'm going to start using it for barking, I'm going to start using it for this, and then suddenly we're spraying him all, you know, for all sorts of different stuff, and he's like, well, like, I'm just getting sprayed all the time, and I don't know how to avoid it, right? A correction works when a dog understands how to avoid that correction moving forward. So I usually will pick like one thing at a time, and then I'll use it only for that one thing until it completely stops, and then I'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Once we realized it worked,
sure.
Using it for everything that we did.
Yeah.
You know, begging.
Sure.
Really bad.
Yeah.
And that's when I think he realized, oh, this does nothing.
Yeah.
I just keep begging, and they just spray me, and it doesn't matter.
Begging is hard too because if you really look at it, it's kind of gray. Like the dog is not super conscious of a specific thing they're doing, right? Because it's like, well, is begging when he's, you know, 6 inches away from you staring at you? Is it when he's a foot away from you? Is it when he's pawing at you? You know what I mean? It's hard to create a very black and white like boundary with it.
Yeah.
So we'll get into obviously how to address that as we get further along through things, but that's a hard one to go in and correct for.
Right. So I think what we're looking for specifically is he jumps on him.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
onto the table and stuff.
Yep.
We'll try to get up on. He'll eventually try to get up on the chair.
Yeah.
To get up on the table, and has done it a couple of times.
Yeah. Now that's a clear thing, right? That's something you could obviously correct for. And again, we'll show you how to do that. So.
And